Today we're going to talk about the Earth. So we're looking at Wonder Map here. I'm also going to get the USGS link always comes up. But here's the satellite imagery that's going on right now. We also had a huge earthquake yesterday in Alaska, of all places. But that's a very active region. It's extremely active. There it is, 7.9. There was a warning that came out for a tsunami, but a few people jumped the gun and said there was a 100-foot wave heading to the Pacific coast, but it didn't trigger any major tsunami in reality. Now, I also want to say something about my appearance in case anyone wants to call me a dirty hippie or something. See, this is hair. I cut my hair off. I shave, but it comes back. And a long time ago, I came to accept this as perfectly natural, perfectly good. And if you don't like it, I have nothing to say to you but maybe some cuss words, and that's not even worth saying to you. So let's move on to the subject here of this. It's science. This is the trailer for The Principle. Does anyone know about The Principle as of yet? Because it's this new movie. I think it's going to be released in September. Here it says theatrical release in spring of 2014, but as far as I know, it hasn't come out yet. I think they did change that. But I want to bring your attention to this, how much hatred this is bringing out from the atheists, the scientists, the materialists, certain ones. I'm not saying that all scientists are bad. Most of them are under this really false doctrine. They have a church of their own, but they refuse to call it a church. And I've been after them. I've been pounding them with truth for a long time now. The Principle is a movie which features a lot of these top level scientists. You just saw Michio Kaku. There's many here that I don't remember their names, but I know their faces, like this one here. People that are in the ivory tower of establishment, academia, establishment, science. People that don't want you to think about anything spiritual. And that's what this movie is about. It's religious, spiritual talk or discussion about the Earth. Okay? That is the producer that you just saw. So they're mixing him in here. Or he's the writer. The producer is another guy. If you want to find out more, you go to this channel, Church Militant TV, and they do a in-depth interview about the making of this movie and the subject matter. I still don't know what is the new proof that they've come up with, like the new data that's coming from the observatories or, wherever it's coming from. It's probably mostly the telescopes, radio telescopes and orbital telescopes. I think that's where they're getting the data from. What I find very fascinating is the fact that you could take like 1 square inch, or if you want to use metric, 1 square centimeter of viewing outer space beyond the zodiac, the Milky Way, where you're seeing the galaxy edge on, even looking out into remote parts that seem to be dark where there's no major star, but when they analyze that, it's chock full of stars. Whatever stars are. See, I still leave some room for skepticism, even about stars. they say that they're all suns out there. But you don't know that. This is just a theory. It sounds like a really good theory, but there's skepticism at the core of the scientific process. And that's what keeps us guessing. That is what keeps us curious. And when we lose that, which most of these scientists have done, when we lose the open-minded attitude, the good attitude we're supposed to have, well, then it's no longer the true science. It becomes the false doctrine that I mentioned before. They're so smug and wealthy and respected, and they've got their PhD and everything else. They're sitting there at the big restaurants with all their cronies, and they are cronies. It's just like politics, folks. And you think they want to give up that official seat that they have, that quasi-official seat? Do you think they really want to and start saying that? Well, I really don't know that much. They're all based on claiming that they know so much. This is, like I said, this is the originator of the film. I'm very curious because I don't know the data. I can just speculate because I know where the things are going. I know that the Higgs boson particle. But what I want to say is my opinion as an amateur, as just someone who loves knowledge, and I've done a lot of research, and I've had my moments of epiphany where I've just gained so much and it's just starting to coalesce in my mind. The epiphany gives me my worldview, especially the cosmic, or my belief system about the cosmos. So I guess the first phrase that we have to think about is, what's the center of the universe? What's the center of the world? And the movie really examines this whole principle of the center. And it used to be with the Earth it's a center, which is called geocentric, and they shifted it during the time of Galileo. Galileo went against the church, the Vatican, the Pope, and he was punished for that. But his ideas went on, and you have a Copernican revolution, which was by the scientist Copernicus. And the creation of the heliocentric view and that model of the solar system changed a lot of things. I don't want to overemphasize, but that's what this movie is about. I don't think that they really understood that it was so radical and earth-shattering at that time. I don't think that they made such a big deal out of it, because people were still tied to the earth and the land, and just thinking about how the structure of the solar system was, or how it was theorized, it didn't probably come as some huge shock to people like peasants working in the field. It took a long time to sink in. You have to have time to bring this subject to the attention of people. You have to have literacy, you have to have the study of science, you have to have higher education before it really means something. So it's sort of like a very slow revolutionary idea. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Just the same thing like nowadays, we tend to think that it's so quick, like we'll revolutionize our ideas. Well, that's the hype. it's really not going to. Most people are not going to change their minds about anything. You have to go through to the next generation. It all comes down to education, and that's why I say about these people in their ivory tower, they are the educational priests, and their priesthood doesn't want to be called a church or a religion, but they certainly have a doctrine and a dogma. And they don't want you to think anything about the earth being divine or created that way. But they will go as far as saying that, we're the only ones with water. Now they can't even say that anymore, because there's this theory that they found another planet with water, and that even some of the moons, satellites of other planets, I think it was Jupiter and possibly also Saturn, one or the other, was found to have water, frozen ice. And this is something they say is necessary for life. Well, certainly life as we know it, biological life, but spiritual life we don't have any idea, because we don't have a machine to measure that with. So we don't know that there are out-of-body angels or that sort of thing. We don't know that. We don't know. And that's life also. So there's a lot of talk about life. What is it? And it's not just humanoid physical bodies. That's what the materialists want you to think. That there is no other consciousness. That rocks can't be alive. A planet can't be alive. They want you to think that. I know that that's not even in the creation myth or the creation belief system of Christianity, but I was talking about my belief system of the cosmos. I wasn't talking about being a defender of traditional Christianity or the Pope that went against Galileo. I have something in common with both camps, if you want to call them opposites. I don't really consider them to be opposites at all. And that's what I think you would assume by looking at the principle, is saying that, well, this is one opposing side versus the other side of mainstream popular science right now. I'm not taking any sides. I'm just saying that I have my own views about it, and the principle is someone else's very developed theories being presented in an entertaining way with this movie. So to me, it's worth thinking about and worth watching. I always promote an expanding Earth model of our planet ever since I came across it and I did my own studies. But this, I'm not going to get into it. This video is too much. This is on the principle of what is the center of the universe. And it doesn't have to do with just our form of life. It doesn't have to do with just that there's water and it's just the right amount of distance away from the sun and these kind of variables that they want to look at. It has something to do with the fact that we're here thinking about things, and we as a humanity, as this supposedly superior species here, needs to get our act together. And there is a spiritual truth that is going to make us the center of the universe. The center is all a state of mind anyhow, because everything is moving. Everything is orbiting around something else. And there's circles within circles within circles. You've got spirals. You've got these complex... They have heliacal models now, which they can only show through animation. So you should also check that out if you're interested of this concept of the center. All I'm saying is that the center is really wherever you are at any given point. That's where reality is. But of course, that's way into philosophy and metaphysics. That's not so much hard science and astrophysics and such. It's more philosophy. But it's really a huge area of thought and consciousness.